G'day guys and gal. It wasn't until recently that Chaos started actually winning. Post-Scouring, they were getting their asses clapped for 10,000 years. Their victories few and far between, always tokenistic and unimpactful. Each of Abaddon's Black Crusades seemed kind of pathetic and unhelpful to the grand scheme of things, only later being retconned to be a part of some overall greater plan. So when Chaos managed to destroy Cadia and open the Great Rift, everyone was like, what the hell? It was a massive Chaos victory that the galaxy is still reeling from. But with Cadia being the second most fortified planet in the galaxy, behind Terra of course, whilst also having the Phalanx, the Necrons, and many other parties assisting in its defense, how did it actually fall? Before we get started, having hair on your body and face can be manly and badass, but it can also be greasy and gross, with some hair that just shouldn't exist at all. So I partnered up with Manscaped to get your grooming situation sorted for 2025. Manscaped has a massive variety of hygiene and grooming products that slap, but the hero of today's sponsor is the Beard and Balls Bundle. Straight up, no one likes ball hair or aggressively unkept pubes. It's literally on the list of things that give girls the ick. So the Lawnmower 5.0 is amazing for keeping the family jewels tidy without shredding them to bits. It's waterproof, smooth, has awesome battery life, and it's just an all-round winner. However, 99% of the time the girls aren't looking at your balls, they're looking at your face or beard. A good beard is sexy, a disgusting unkept neck beard is not. So by using the Beard Hedger trimmer, you can maintain your manliness while also keeping it clean and tidy. The Beard Hedger has multiple adjustable lengths, so you can keep the neck hair short and the face hair longer. This kit is all you need, but you can always dip into dozens more awesome Manscaped products for even better grooming and hygiene results. The best part is that by using my link or code Magical20 below, you'll get 20% off and free international shipping store-wide. Cheers to Manscaped for sponsoring this video. Today we'll go over the fall of Cadia, detailing its key plot points, the setup for the war, and how Chaos actually managed to win. Also, I'm going on a trip to the US tomorrow, so the content uploads will slow down a bit over the next 2 weeks on my way, but well, she'll be right. Let's get into it. So for context on why Cadia was so important and its fall had such far-reaching consequences. After all, Imperial worlds explode all the time. The Eye of Terror is the main base of operation for the forces of Chaos. However, it's a massive shithole where resources are scarce, gene seed is hard to preserve, and the populations aren't exactly large. Hence, Chaos forces need to raid Imperial territory outside of the Eye of Terror to sustain themselves. The issue is the Cadian Gate, a number of worlds, with Cadia as its backbone, that contain the Eye of Terror, quite literally. Hence, Chaos has to bust their balls to escape the Eye or can only escape in small numbers. It's why Chaos has been such a non-threat for so long in the setting. They were literally stuck. Another thing that made Cadia so important was the Necron pylons on the planet. These pylons had an anti-warp effect that literally prevented the Eye of Terror from growing. When Slaanesh was born, she didn't create the Eye of Terror, she reopened it, with the Necrons using Cadia and similar worlds to originally close it. So Cadia was physically blocking Chaos as well as the Eye of Terror. Because of its vital importance, Cadia was turned into a mighty fortress world, every inch of it covered in bunkers, guns, and defenses. The vast majority of its population was trained for war, with most Cadians able to assemble and clean a rifle before they can even read or speak. However, due to its proximity to the Eye of Terror, it was pretty common for Chaos cults to emerge and try sabotage Cadia in one way or another, attempts that have always failed due to how vigilant the people of Cadia were. Abaddon had to take out Cadia, there was no other way around it. However, if he just Leroy Jenkins did, he would have lost. Hence, a number of his previous Black Crusades were designed to weaken Cadia in some way or another, or empower himself or his forces. For example, his first Black Crusade gained him the mighty blade Draknian, the 6th Black Crusade resulted in the Black Legion swelling in size after Abaddon subdued a huge rival warband, the 12th Black Crusade saw Abaddon obtain 2 Blackstone fortresses, and so on. The Black Crusades also weakened the barrier between real space and the warp, thus allowing the Great Rift to be fucking massive when it opened. After getting the blessings of all the Demon Primarchs, Abaddon launched his 13th and final Black Crusade, a siege of Cadia itself. The siege begun with all Chaos cults and sleeper cells uprising, causing planet-wide confusion as the Cadian High Command was assassinated by a guardsman regiment everyone thought was loyal. However, this simply allowed the legendary Ursakarg E. Kree to jettison into the position of leader of Cadia, and he was an absolute beast. So the uprising was crushed and Chaos elements in orbit were destroyed. However, this was simply the cock tease to the invasion that would come. The surrounding worlds making up the rest of the Cadian Gate were also besieged by other Chaos champions like Typhus and Lucius, as Abaddon wanted to isolate Cadia. However, many Imperial heroes had been drawn to Cadia, either by design or chance, to help with its defense. Saint Celestine arrived in their time of need, slaying a Chaos champion and driving back the forces of Chaos from Cadia's main fortress. The Phalanx arrived after it was invaded by Chaos forces over Terra and forced to make an emergency warp jump. Belisarius Cawl was also present as he attempted to unlock the secrets of the Necron pylons in the hope that he could close the Eye of Terror, with Trazyn the Infinite also coming to assist Cawl during one of his more heroic moments. Many Space Marine chapters also arrived, such as the Space Wolves, White Scars, Dark Angels, Blood Angels, Imperial Fists, and more, with the Space Wolves especially making a good showing of themselves. Another standout during the battle for Cadia were the Cascarin, the elite of the elite Cadian warriors, with some even venturing into the Eye of Terror Terra itself to collect intel. During the course of the battle, they slaughtered many Chaos Space Marines and did a lot of heavy lifting. The Imperials basically needed to buy enough time for the pylons to fully activate, which would purge the planet of demons, shrink the Eye of Terror, and fuck Chaos in the ass. Abaddon wished to destroy the pylons, which would allow the Eye to expand and swallow Cadia, thus allowing the Great Rift to be born. Now, Abaddon is a warrior first and foremost. He prefers to conquer through strength and ruthlessness. He is a brilliant strategist, but he also doesn't like doing cheap, cheeky shit if he can avoid it. Abaddon wanted to conquer Cadia personally. However, each time he activated another trump card or special attack, the Imperials had a counter awaiting. For example, when he finally revealed the might of his true fleet led by the Will of Eternity, one of his Blackstone fortresses, which fucked up the Imperial fleet, a Space Wolf strike force joined by the Legion of the Damned boarded the Will of Eternity, sabotaged it, and left it vulnerable for the Phalanx to disable and basically destroy. So Abaddon had had enough. Whilst these hordes of demons, Titan legions, and Chaos Space Marines were engaged in a vicious ground assault, he went for a decapitation strike, teleporting himself and his elite warriors nearby to where Khal, Trazyn, and the Cadian leaders were. Now, Trazyn wasn't the biggest fan of this, so he threw some Pokeballs at Abaddon and his elite warriors. Out of the Pokeballs came Horus Heresy-era Space Marines who were confused but smart enough to recognize who was friend and who was foe, as well as a Custodian who just got stuck in. Inquisitor Greyfax, another Pokemon release of Trazyn, fought alongside Saint Celestine against Abaddon, with even Creed helping them out. It was a hard-fought battle, but the power of friendship triumphed as Abaddon was beaten down and then shanked by Saint Celestine. At a similar time, the pylons were turbocharged, which began banishing the demons from the world and even started shrinking the Eye of Terror. As a side note, this also weakened Saint Celestine, but that's okay. Abaddon teleported to safety and was like, fuck this shit, ordering his forces to jettison the remains of the Will of Eternity into the surface of Cadia. Now, Blackstone fortresses are fucking massive, so while it didn't just explode Cadia, it caused so much widespread damage that Cadia was doomed as the pylon network was shattered and started collapsing. The Imperials only had a limited amount of time to escape their doomed world, with Creed and his regiment staying behind to allow many of his forces to escape. Most of the Loyalist Space Marines were able to reboard their strike cruisers and leave. The Phalanx also picked up a shitload of Loyalists and evacuated, alongside a number of Cadian ships escaping. About 3 million Cadians managed to get off world to continue Cadia's legacy, spawning the saying Cadia stands, so as long as a Cadian lives. As for Khal, Celestine, Greyfax, and the Black Templars, the Elder arrived via a webway portal and evacuated them, which eventually led them to Ultramar and Guilliman's resurrection. Trazyn escaped using his own methods, but not before collecting the wounded Creed to display in his museum, technically saving him, but not for selfless reasons. However, the Horus Heresy-era Space Marines were killed, alongside the Custodian who was personally slain by Abaddon. With the pylon network gone, the Eye of Terror exploded in size, spawning the Great Rift, which has cut the galaxy in half and consumed countless worlds. The galaxy has now been flooded with warp energy, which has allowed Chaos to basically spawn in and attack wherever they want, putting massive pressure on the Imperium. Even the Imperial Palace itself was attacked by the forces of Khorne, only surviving due to the arrival of Guilliman. Chaos is now ascendant, no longer shoeheld by the Cadian Gate, which has encouraged a number of the Demon Primarchs to return to the setting in strength. The legacy of Cadia lives on though. The surviving Cadians took over a new world and named it New Cadia, whilst they've also been given permission to settle on whatever worlds they conquer. Cadians also like to fuck, and they've been breeding like rabbits, not to mention Cadians are so inspiring that many other Guardsmen regiments seek to emulate them, using their gear and training doctrines to improve themselves. So don't worry, Cadia may be gone, but the Cadians live on and continue to fight in the Emperor's name. Could the Imperium have won the Battle of Cadia and stopped its fall? Well, yes. They were doing a fucking elite job of holding back Abaddon's forces, wounding Abaddon, killing a shitload of his warriors, and even shrinking the Eye of Terror. It was just the flinging of the Blackstone Fortress situation that ended up getting them. If the Phalanx had continued bombing the Will of Eternity and annihilated it, then it wouldn't have been able to be used as a meteor. But in saying that, Abaddon did have another Blackstone Fortress that I assume he held in reserve in order to throw at Cadia if shit was extremely dire. Cadia did kind of need to fall though for the plot. Chaos had been too weak for too long, and the Tyranids being the big bad of the setting isn't that interesting. If Guilliman had returned with an intact Cadia still holding, that would have been GGS for the Imperium, so you gotta keep those stakes high, you know. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be, where we have a nude cosplay photo shoot of female Sanguinius, high-res Warhammer 40k fan art wallpapers, a boatload of Battlemace 40 million hentai, and more for as little as $1. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more Fallen content. Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.